Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 6. The member are me, Muhammad Farid Qadhafi, and my two other friends, Arieza Jalio and Kamila Rizqa Devisasmita. In this presentation, we will talk about implementing and managing engaging instruction. Without wasting much time, we go to introduction first.
Okay, here we are, chapter 6, implementing and managing engaging instruction. So the fourth component of classroom management is engaging instruction. What is it? Engaging instruction. Engaging instruction is techniques that can increase motivation and interest student in learning itself. Why engaging instruction is needed? Because the more engaging the instruction is, the fewer misbehavioral issues will come out in the classroom. So let's think about a science teacher in elementary school. She decide to operate the classroom with magma, with a volcano. So she want the student to make a volcano to illustrate magma and lava. So this is one of technique it can engage the classroom. So undoubtedly the student will pay attention to the material because they interesting about it, right? Yeah, and that is one of example. Then to to implement a lesson smoothly, a teacher must develop a clear understanding of many managerial talks. They must be attend, which is before, during, and after the lesson, and in order to implement an engaging and motivating a lesson.
Okay, that's the introduction from our group, and we go to the first material. It's before a lesson. Okay, there are some things that, or some points that you have to know before you manage your class or you implement managing and engaging instruction in the class. So there are 4 points that I have here. The first one is consider with the physical design. The second one is plan for necessary material. The third one is consider of the number of students. And the last one decides how to group students. So we go to the first point. The first point is consider the physical design. So the physical design means that what kind of classroom do you have, if it is small or big. And maybe when you are teaching students, you have so many ideas, such as if you teach about solar system, you can make some simulation about how the solar system works and what is the planet in that solar system. But you have to know what kind of classroom you have. If it is a small classroom, you cannot force your class to do the simulation because it's really hard to find space, and also it's really hard for students to hear you clearly. So in this first point, the main point is you have to know, and you have to you have to consider every single idea that you have for your students. So it may not be a bad action in future. Okay, the second point is plan for the necessary materials. In this point, As a teacher, we always has some kind of ideas, such as I said before, and it relates to the first point that we have to know what the physical design and what the classroom are, what the classroom you have. So with the growth of the technology now, we can use some kind of electronic media, such as maybe a tablet or maybe a PowerPoint. You can also use some PC, computer, laptop, and maybe it can make you more easier to teach the students, because you don't have to explain and tell aloud in front of the class. So you may have just make the students sit at their at their chair, and you can give them some material on their smartphones or their tablet or something. And I think it's more effective than you just stand in the front of the classroom and you just tell them everything that you want to say. So that's the way that you plan for the necessary material. Okay, we go to the next point. The next point is consider the number of students. In every classroom, sometimes it has a different number of students. So as a teacher, we have to consider how we teach them by look out for the number of students that we have in class. So as a teacher, we have to be more flexible, because every day we don't know who is absent, who is not coming to the class. So we have to be more flexible to make us the material and to make some activity in class, so the students aren't boring with our teaching methods, and we can give some necessary materials also to the students in a good way. And also for the one who are absent, or maybe they are not coming to the class, we can give them some materials by using the technology that I said before, so there is not such many problems with a number of students in the class. And the last point is decide how you group your students. So in many materials or in many activities, some teachers like to grouping their students in order to train them be more cooperative, and they want to make them know how to work together. So as a teacher, you have to know what kind of characteristic that you will choose for grouping them, such as some interests that they have, or maybe you can ask them to make the group by themselves, or maybe you can you can choose every single member that you want to be a group at the class. So I think that is all for before a lesson session. So we go to the next session.
Well, we move to during lesson. There are 6 ways here to help the teachers. First is incorporate relevant content. And of course, as a teacher, before we start teaching, we should give them an introduction about our materials, so our students know a purpose, what they're learning. It is important when we are at the first meeting, we can talk about course contract or our rules in the classroom, so we have a relationship between teachers and our students. And then next is provide clear instruction. As my explanation before, when we are explaining our materials, we should give a clear instruction to make our students understand. So our students know what our goals to learn that the materials, and decide that our student will understand easier the materials because we're explain our materials with clear instruction. And then teach collaborative work skills because we are using of curriculum 2013, which is teamwork is more emphasized in this era. We can divide our students with some groups, and then they will discuss, also sharing their ideas, and then our students get more knowledge for discussion with their groups. So the next is plan for transition. It will be bored when we are just learning in the classroom. Based on our experience, sometimes we are learning in the class and then at the lab, also at Sakadomas, or maybe at an open space. It is intermezzo for our brain. It will be bored when we are just learning in the class. Next is monitor students' behavior. It is important thing to teachers to monitor our students. When they are in a group discussion, we can monitor them, like how they are doing their assignment, and if it is our students need more explanation or need more sources, we can guide them to help understand the material easier, right? So when they are doing their assignment, it is important when we are monitor them. And next, don't forget to monitor progress and provide feedback, because after their discussion, a feedback from the teacher, it's important to make our students improve their ability. And then, of course, we know how far they understand the materials, right? So the feedback is really important when we are learning something. And then we move to after a lesson. Assessing our student works, as my explanation before, it's important to know how far our students' ability or their knowledge. And of course, don't forget to give them a feedback, because because sometimes when we don't have a feedback, of course we don't know how far their student. As my experience, if it is I don't have a feedback from my teacher, I don't know it is right or wrong when I'm doing an assignment. So a feedback is a really important thing here. And then the last one is reflection. Of course, it is not just about our students. A teacher, it's really important to have a feedback for their students. So from our student will give advice for us, it will improve our teaching skills, right? And that's all for me. We move to another section.
The next one is implementing, motivating, and engaging instructions. So with so many potential strategies to engage and motivate students, engaging instruction can look quite differently in every classroom. So it's just based on how you bring the material itself to your classroom, to your student. Yeah. So here I have 3 examples of it, like Amy, Ernie, and Tim. As you can see, Amy used one topic for one week meeting, and Annie used one topic for one meeting. And Tim actually used one topic, but he do a trial to his student. What you got from these 3 examples? Actually, they have a good result of their study, their meeting. So the point is, engaging instruction, it just how you bring the material to your student, to your class. As long as it can engage and motivate your student to interesting your material, it can engaging. But with the instruction, you need to be clear with instruction, like the what is it plan before. You need to make before, after, before and while and after the lesson instruction, so you can do smoothly engaging your student in the classroom very well. Okay, thank you.
So we go to the last, the last session and the last material. It is in student voices. So this is kind of students' opinion about the class that they have. So there are 4 persons here. Okay, we go to the first students. The first student is Jake from the 3rd grade. He said that he loves the teacher who can make their class interesting and fun by using some properties such as cubes, or maybe they're using diagrams. They're using some things that they use for teach them. And also he said that it'll be better if teacher use some PowerPoints or whiteboard. He said that he really loved that. So we go to the second student. The second student is Chelsea from the 8th grade. So she believes that the lessons are more engaging if the students can interact with the others when they do some projects, or maybe they can share, or maybe they can work together if they create something in the class. The third student is Chris. He is from the 10th grade. So he said that it'll be it would be better if the teachers now utilize their students by saying that bring your device. He said that this allows students to look things up and watch them, and also it can make the students freely discuss about the material in the class. So the last student is Jessica from the 12th grade. She said that class will be more engaging if we use some kind of learning style. As we all know, in the class there are so many students with a lot of different learning styles. So she said that it'll be better if we use some kind of different learning style. And we have to use so many different intelligence too. Maybe it's kind of hard at the beginning, but she said that it will be more engaging for the students. So I think that is all from our group 6, and thank you, and we are sorry if we have so many mistakes here. So we go to Miss Dini. Thank you.